Now, did you have any family members that were in the military before?
I had distant uncles who I never met. And it was so interesting when you asked me this because, and it's still prevalent in a lot of my friends, and this sounds terrible, but like we really thought growing up that people who joined the militaries were suckers. What are they doing? We really, or at least I did in my group of people, it was like, if you don't have anything to do, go join the military.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you're just laying around, it was kind of an afterthought for most people. So I probably went through most of my life like that. And what happened is, in LA too, I forgot to bring this in, but I was acting in LA. I was I don't want to say working actor because the work was hard to find, but it was me and all the boys, Tommy and Jimmy, and we're all doing that thing. And I happened to jump into this theater company called Playhouse West. And it was one of the few bastions where you could go and be like a free person, without the kind of Hollywood kind of, their whole ideology on top of you. And they were very, very pro-military in this theater company.
Oh, interesting.
They did a play called Welcome Home Soldier. And this is the funny thing, because I was playing a soldier in a play 4 years before I entered the military. So this play was not a play. This play was so much more than a play because it was for the Vietnam veterans and it was essentially a welcome home to them.
Yeah.
So the first act starts out with all these hippies and stuff spitting on soldiers and whatnot. And as they progress through the play, the soldiers are finally welcomed home. And I think that's the big thing that I met there was this guy, John Pagel. John Pagel was a Vietnam vet. He was in the 101st and did a lot of time in Vietnam, and he was a crunchy. He was the smallest guy in the platoon, so he was the guy diving in holes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Meeting him had a huge influence on me. I was blown away by this little tiny man who looks like he could put the fear of God in anybody, just because of his demeanor. And there was another guy, Tom Aki. So these were ex-Vietnam vets who would come to the play for healing.
Oh, wow.
We used to go to the VA with a van and pick up like 11 or 12 guys who were at the VA hospital, and they would watch the play. What was incredible about it is that the play was so good that the Vietnam vets would sometimes think it's, because we would have actors in the audience who would come up and say, when I got back from Vietnam, this happened. So they thought it was part of the play. So they got up and they would do it. So some nights the play would run 4 hours because everybody would go on with speeches who weren't even in the play. So that play and John Pagel had just an immense effect on me as a person. It changed my whole view of everything, as far as the military. Because like I said before, I hate to say it, but, growing up in an affluential neighborhood in Syosset, New York, you're not thinking about joining the Army. You're thinking about where you're going to make your first million. So,
yeah. So that was 4 years before you joined. So you're in your early 30s when you're doing that. And
yeah, I got out to LA probably, I was like 24. So I did a lot of acting. Oddly enough, I was more successful once I got out of the Army, because the Army teaches, I would never be prepared for anything, and one of the, I'm convinced myself that every single person should join the military for a minimum of 2 years, just for the structure, just to get up and make your bed every day. Yeah. Those type of patterns in your life. And so when I got back to LA, everything was structured. Okay, I have an audition at 8 o'clock. That means I got to be at the gym at 6:30. That means that, everything was a time hack.
Yep.
Oh, I'm off my time hack now.
Yeah.
Everything in my life changed for the better as far as how I approached anything.
Yeah. And you know what, Timmy, that's actually great that you say that, because that's something that I personally feel. And they used to do this in America up until I think the 50s, where everybody did something after high school, whether it was join the military and for whatever reason, they stopped doing that. And I think we should get back to it, whether it's the military, the Peace Corps, something to get a kid out of his bubble learn those discipline things, see the world, interact with completely different people. I mean, I totally agree with you, but yeah, that's so it sounds like, and obviously we're bouncing around here, but you brought it up. So when you got done in 05, you went back to California, or you were out there anyway? Okay.
Yeah, well, it was kind of a brief stay because it was really, there's a couple of things that went into effect for me moving back to New York. And I had to beg my wife. She was born and raised in, well, she was born in Mexico, but born and raised in LA. So the thought of being in cold New York was just not, but I said, listen, two things changed. The fact that I went to the military, and I'll get into that in a second, and the fact that I had my first kid. So the first year out, 2005, 2006, I had my best year of acting, like did an iPhone commercial, I was just, my wife like couldn't believe the amount of money that was coming into our household.